I apologize that I have not been super up to date on like specific horrible things that have been happening in this country, but I do have a specific one now. The state of Nebraska is now mandating that all trans youth that are seeking like gender affirming care go for 5 months of non-affirming therapy, which realistically is conversion therapy. So that's super fucking garbage. And it's like, I guess to them, it's the idea that like they haven't fully like outright banned gender affirming care, but making youth go through 5 months of non-affirming therapy is like absolute fucking bullshit. So that's super fun. That's your horrible update. I try to offer as many links and like as much information as I possibly can, but there's also times where I'm not able to do that. But it just, I don't want to like start videos off with like such horrible, depressing things, but at the same time, we need to know what's happening in this country as much as we can so that we know what we're fighting against and we know who we're protecting. So that's the idea of that. And I apologize if that's like, oh, like new Sharky Chico video, getting ready to laugh. And then you just get like punched in the gut with like how horrible this country is. But at the same time, we need to be realistic and we need to understand like what is happening and what our government's fucking doing to us. Hello Friendzies, welcome back to my channel. I'm now realizing that maybe I should have done dimmer lights because this feels very bright for the kind of video I want to do. Turn the brightness down on your phone. That'll do it. I have a possibly like scary story for you today. It might not be as scary as I think it is. And it's from a very long time ago. And it's from the France trip that I got to go on. And I've talked about the France trip before. I think the one video I can remember I've talked about it in was when I talked about seeing, what was his name? Gene Simmons dressed as an angel when I was in Paris and I thought I was having a fever dream. Do you guys want a video, like an actual full-length video about the France trip? Because every time I talk about the France trip, I feel like I need to be like, I am incredibly lucky that I was able to go on this trip, but also the shit sucked. It was horrible. So do we want like a full-length video about the France trip? Please let me know, because that was my freshman year of high school, like the summer after my freshman year of high school. Sorry, I'm like adjusting myself. But I also have a video coming up in November about another trip that I took when I was in middle school that was also fucking horrible. So you guys just get to like live my trauma with me. So let me know if you want a full video about the France trip. But I have kind of a scary story which fits into October about the France trip. Now, does anybody remember was it 2016? The 2016 Summer of Clowns, where that shit was just horrible all the time. Does anybody remember that? When did Vine shut down? Because I remember there were Vines about clown summer. So this is a clown related thing. That was, I'm talking about like 2016. This was like 2010, maybe 2011. It might have been like the summer of 2011, right? I went on the France trip. The like French foreign language France trip in my high school. We went for 10 days, centered around Bastille Day, basically. It was a nightmare. Anyway, one of the nights that we were in France and like going around, we went to this mall, and please don't ask me what mall it was. I genuinely couldn't tell you the name of it. It's been a very long time. We went to this like mall, or I'm assuming it was a mall because it was like a big building with like a lot of shops inside, but there was also like a Subway. I don't remember if it was like in the same strange building or if it was like off to the side. Anyway, the mall we went to, first of all, was already like upsetting because there was no like you know how they're like skylights usually in like malls in America? There were none. And there was like flooding. There was random flooding. I don't remember if they were escalators or stairs, but there was a section of this mall where it was just like flooded. So you could be like over here walking around like getting a pretzel. I think there was a pretzel place. I'm trying to remember. And there was like, random shops, but then if you came around like this way, just all of this area was flooded, all the steps, everything. So that was already upsetting. We were already at that mall. We all just wanted to go back to the hotel and leave. So that night, we get on the subway, and of course it's nighttime. It's like, it's time. It's maybe like 9-10 o'clock at night, because, you know, we're on the France trip. We're grown adults. Like, we're like so fancy. So it's like 9-10 at night, and we're just now getting back to the hotel. So we get on the subway near that mall, which, again, already unsettling. Already just like a not super great place to be. All of us are so fucking over it and just want to go home. And, you know, the like subway tunnels are subway tunnels, but if you've ever been to France, because it's Europe, the architecture is like the arches just feel different than like subways here. And I've only really ever been on the subways in like one city. So that's my only comparison, is the two. They just feel different. They just feel like it's not the catacombs, but it feels like the catacombs most of the time on the subway in France. And we're walking, and, you know, lots of street performers, lots of, like, people just doing random things in the subway. Totally fine. They're living their best life. But we hear something that sounds like a very upsetting, like, polka. Like, from a horror movie that wants to, like, goof around and use, like, silly songs to make you more upset. It very, like, is it polka? Am I using the right word? Where it's like, and they usually have that, like, thing that's like a keyboard, an accordion, and like has like the like thing you can blow into. It sounds very much like that, and like slightly distorted, and whether that's because of all the subway noise or because of the tunnels or whatever, it sounded so upsetting. And we can hear it kind of like in the distance, and we're like, okay, great. And thankfully it like wasn't, you know, how it like splits off different tunnels. It wasn't the tunnel we were going down. And how old was I? I was 18 when I graduated, so I was only like 14, 15 years old. Like, I was still young. So we can hear it like down one of the tunnels, and we're like, that's upsetting. Don't like that. So we go and we get to like our spot on the subway that we're waiting for a train. No, we went to the wrong subway thing, because we found out that ours was like up a set of stairs. You know, you go down like into the subway, you go down several flights of stairs, and turns out ours was like up on a platform. So we had to go back up a flight of stairs to get to this subway train cart thing. And as we're like going up the stairs, we're like, oh shit, like, because we were at, like I said, we were at one, and we're like, oh shit, that's not the train we need. So all of us start going up the stairs. As we're going up the stairs, we can hear the like, we can hear that coming closer. We can hear it coming closer. Very upsetting. And we're like, wow, I hope they don't come to this platform, or if they do, I hope they stay downstairs. And then we get up to the platform, and the train's like not there yet. Okay, whatever. So we got there, and there's like, you know, it was 30 kids in total, and then a handful of adults. So I think all together there was about 40 people on this trip, like together. And then there was this cute little old couple that like were staying at the same hotel as us, and were doing a lot of the same things we were doing. So a lot of the times we just kind of adopted them in and like hung out with them on like the bus tours and everything like that. So we were with them too, and they were hanging a little bit behind the rest of the group, because of course the young high school children are all going together, and this older couple is a little bit behind us. And, you know, we're all kind of standing and talking on the platform, and they hadn't fully come up to the platform yet. And all you hear all of a sudden, you know, we're tired, we're chit-chatting, and all you hear is the husband, he just goes, "Are they dressed as clowns?" And that's as you can hear the music coming closer. And all of us just like looked at each other, and we were like, they're not dressed as clowns. No, they're not. They will not be. So they get to the top of the stairs, and I think one of the kids on the trip was like, "What are you talking about, clowns?" Because we're thinking like mimes, like very stereotypical, like depictions of Paris mimes. We're thinking that, which is already bad. I'm not a fan of mimes. But somebody was like, "Do you mean a mime?" And he was like, "No, I thought I saw a clown." You thought you saw a clown. Great. So, okay. The music's getting closer, but it's not like super, super close yet. So there's still, like I said, if we were going down to get to our subway station and there was like, we could hear it down this tunnel, it seems like they're maybe coming down this tunnel and like possibly heading this way. I don't know. They're behind us. So the train comes. Don't forget, we're upstairs on like a platform for some reason. The train comes, we all get in. Late at night, it's getting like 10:30, maybe around this time. We all get in. We're like the only ones on this subway. Or we're the only ones in like this train cart. Okay? And it's not like the other subways I've been on this entire trip. For some reason, the train carts are like longer. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I could just be talking shit. If anybody's like in Paris and has like any vague fucking concept of what I'm talking about, they're gonna be watching this and being like, what is she saying? I'm sorry if I'm wrong. My memory is not great on like what happened this week, let alone what happened almost over 10 years ago. It was over 10 years ago. Sorry, I just had an existential crisis. Anyway, so we get into this like long subway cart and we're all like in one. We're spread out, but we're all in one, and there's like other ones. And I don't know if the other ones were empty or not, but it didn't seem like anybody else was really on the platform other than like our group, because maybe it's late at night and we were just taking a weird route. I don't know. So we're sitting there and we get all comfortable and we're like, okay, maybe they're just taking a couple extra minutes. But then like the doors aren't closing. The doors to the subway cart are not closing at all. And my teacher's like checking her phone and she's like, it's been like 5 minutes and these aren't closing. And we're like, yeah, that's kind of, we're all like moving, and we're like moving away from the doors to like make sure that we're not like hitting a sensor or anything. But as far as I know, again, I haven't been on a lot of subways in my life. I've been on the ones in France and ones in the city near me, and it's not often because I hate public transportation. They don't take that long to close. And it had been like 5 minutes at that point. And don't forget, we can still hear like the distorted like like the fucking weird polka music. We can still hear it distantly. And the older man that kind of was like part of this group with us had said, are they dressed as clowns? And we're like, oh, good, there's clowns in the subway. The doors are not closing to the subway cart. And then we start hearing the music get louder. And all of us are like kind of looking at each other like, okay, maybe they just like made it to the platform downstairs, and like, you know, there were other people down there waiting for their trains. Like maybe they're terrorizing those people. And the doors still aren't closing. And then we can hear it getting louder, and the way it was echoing, we could hear them coming up the stairs. And I don't think it was just one clown with a strange accordion. What is that called? It's like the piano, the accordion, and then like a thing that you can blow into to like make music. I don't think it was just one of them. Because the way they were coming up the stairs, and of course, it's like the way the lighting is and everything, it looked like multiple people, and we could see like, you know how like my hand is like making this shadow on my head? We could see it against the wall, and the doors still weren't closing, and the music kept getting louder. And I shit you not, like, it was like a movie. It genuinely was like a movie. I know, like, it sounds like I'm talking shit, but I know that there are people out here that have had experiences like this where you're like, you only see this shit in movies. Genuinely, because I was like, I wasn't near the door, but I was sitting in like a little spot that you could see like you could see part of the stairs, and I shit you not, like right as you would probably start seeing like the top of a scary hat, the door suddenly just went, and the subway like started moving, and we were all like, and I didn't look back. I didn't look out the windows and look back. I didn't try to see the platform. I didn't try to see if they like had just made it up and had like knives and shit ready to fucking kill us. I don't know. All I know is that the clowns were following us, and I think they knew that our doors weren't shutting on the subway and they were gonna come get us. Can you imagine, even if they like genuinely were like the nicest people alive, being in a subway cart at night in a foreign city with a bunch of people dressed like clowns? Because I fucking can't. That sounds like a nightmare. And I know I'm not telling that story like in an ooky spooky way, and like I said, I definitely could have I think I could have turned the lights off for this. It's like gloomy out, but it's kind of bright, and I think with the light that I have on my bedside table, that might have been like more fun to tell a spooky story like that. But just lower the brightness on your phone and watch it again if you want to do it that way. That's just it. Like, I've tried to block the France trip out of my mind because it was not a good experience. I will tell like the story about it because we had, I feel like I've talked about this. I have Heartstopper on the shelf above these. There is a scene in the Heartstopper books and now the show, there is a room in the Louvre that they go to that I was also in, and it's very cool every time I like read the Heartstopper books. And I haven't seen season 2 yet because I'm garbage. I'm so bad at watching new media even when I want to, but I really want to see it in the show because I'll be like, I remember that room. Anyway, if you want a full video of the France trip, please let me know. This video did not need to be as long as it is. Before it's being edited, it's almost 17 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you're happy that I survived the scary Paris clowns. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Is there a racist history of clowns? I feel like there is. I gotta look that up.